On this episode, we're going to talk about the truth in reflection. And reflection, whew, that's a doozy, right? Because you got to be able to see yourself, who you are, strengths and weaknesses. So let's dive in. Reinvention's not cute. Whoever said that is crazy. They're nuts, okay? Because it's chaotic, it's uncomfortable, but it also is kind of liberating, if I'm being honest, which that's what we do here. I'm Christina Rumbley. I'm a serial reinventionist, and I have done everything you can imagine, all the way from being a pop star to becoming a professional songwriter. From that, business entrepreneur, leading 250 employees, then selling my companies to where I am today. This is Reinventing Rumbley, and that's what we do here. But we're inappropriately appropriate, of course. So now it's time to reinvent. So let's get to it. Welcome back, everybody. I'm Christina Rumbley, and this is Reinventing Rumbley, inappropriately appropriate, of course. And today we're going to be talking about reflection, which is the second part of the trilogy: rejection, reflection, reinvention. So, you know how we just talked about rejection? Ooh, that's a painful, painful thing, right? The beauty of rejection. But today, on today's episode, we're going to talk about the truth in reflection. Today, we're digging into some of those life lessons of reflection. And reflection is very interesting. I was looking it up and I was really digging in. And reflection, people think like you can look in a mirror and see your reflection. And today, we're just going to briefly touch on what other types of reflection can we have. Maya Angelou has a beautiful quote, and once she said, "Do the best you can until you know better. Then, when you know better, do better." And that sat with me because the reality is that's the truth. You can't do better unless you know better, and you can't know better unless you dig in. And sometimes digging in can be a little painful. You know what I'm saying? Because you go into the reality check of, what did I do? What part did I play in this rejection that just happened? Because remember the steps, and they go in that order: rejection, reflection, then reinvention comes out of that. Because if you try to jump the ship, jump the shark, and go, well, I'm just going to go straight to reflection, you can't unless you've had something happen. Because without it, you don't even realize that you're in it. Does that make sense? Do I sound ridiculous? I could, because there's elements of like, you don't know it till you're in it, then you're in it, and then you're on it, then you're on top of it, then you're around it. What? What are we, a squirrel on a nut? That's for another episode. Squirrel on a nut. Anywhoosies. So what we're talking about today is really, truly the truth in reflection. And I say that with my fist in the air, because stillness to me is the new flex, right? Some people flex in different ways. Stillness, which is like my arch nemesis. Why? Because I don't like to be still. If you haven't noticed, I don't know what to do with my hands. It's like Talladega Nights, right? I don't like to be still, because still means I need to sit with something. Still, you won't catch me doing yoga. I try. God, I try. I told you guys this, I think, on an earlier episode, that yeah, people have tried to get me to do yoga or meditate. I'm a horrible student. And I've created yoga, Pilates studios, and menus that had deep meditative elements to it. Very woo-woo. Read your chakras. I can't do it. I can't do it. I'm like, my chakra is black and says, shut the fuck up. Because I have a very hard time sometimes being still and quiet. But due to what's going on right now at 51 in my life, and, where are you in your life, right? What reflections, what reflective nature do you have? So, stillness to me is the new flex. Like I said, in a world obsessed with productivity, reflection can look like laziness, right? If you're taking time to go, wow, okay, I'm in a new era, I'm in a new feel, and I have to dig in and experience that. And so for me, reflection really is about Not so much looking in the mirror, because yeah, listen, I can look in the mirror and find all kinds of shit. I can find what am I the physical stuff, like that wrinkle, that big pimple, that gross I have okay, here's a reflection for you. I have a vein in my nose right here that if I don't put some type of concealer on it, I look like a cokehead. Never done cocaine in my life. Listen, to each his own. That's your gig. I don't care. But I had this vein. So even today I was like, I gotta cover that because it's not hot. That's a reflection. It's a beauty reflection. It's a vanity reflection. But there's also other kinds of reflection. And the one I want to jump into today is more of an internal, reflecting on, okay, so you get rejected. For me, lost my job. That was a big kick in the nuts skis of rejection. And I had to reflect on that and really look in deep and go, okay, what could I have done to make it even better? And sometimes in those moments of reflection, you kind of find out that you really couldn't have done anything. You couldn't have muscled your way through it. You couldn't have changed the perception. You couldn't have told a different story that would have made people think differently. And I really dug in on that. But it's bigger than that. It was a reflecting on what's next. What's missing now to get me to the next layer, the next level? What do I want? Who am I? What do I contribute to what that is? And who do I want to be? It's a hard question to answer when you're in the thick of it and the muck of it and you're in it and you're stuck and you're grieving loss, whatever that loss is. And to each his own. Everybody struggles through grief in their own way. Um, some people dive into something else. Some people dive into a relationship. Some people dive into things that may not be great for them: alcohol, drugs, sex, addiction, whatever the addiction is, food. Some people don't eat. Some people struggle with the emotional quotient of what's next. So when we're looking through the lens of reflection, I think it's important to look at it like, why? What can I do to maneuver through this? Not change it, because you can't change the rejection because it happened, right? All you can change is your perception of it and what you do with it. So when you reflect, you actually are really looking deeply at yourself, and you have to. Here's the catch: you have to be so truthful. And I'm talking, it's ugly sometimes. It can be really ugly. It can be jealousy. It can be people pleasing, is your reflection that you were a people pleaser and that caused a rift. It caused a problem. It caused you to have to step into this next phase. It could also be self betrayal or betrayal from somebody else. It can be career shifts. It can be a child that is challenged or challenging you. Being a mother is not for the faint at heart. And I know that firsthand. And I know other mothers and even fathers out there can relate to that. So for reflection, I find for me, bath time is the best time. I mean, truthfully, I do a little bit of bubble bath. It's a 10, 12-minute maxer because I get overheated and I got to get out, but it's hot as Hades in there. And I take a bath and I really have a peaceful moment. It's the moment to myself. I started this back when Avery was young because I needed to decompress because I found myself getting anxious with her or anxious with my husband. And this was kind of my ritual. What's your reflection ritual? Do you have one? Do you need one? I think we all could use one, right? So for me, bath time is a reflective time, and especially when I'm going through something. And what I found is I'm really able to be clear headed because I don't have my phone near me. No one's coming in and bothering me. No one's asking me any questions. No one's needing me in that moment. It's just me, sound of the water, and the smell of the bubble bath. And if you do want to get a little woo woo, add a little couple drops of aromatherapy. If you want clarity, let's go lemongrass. You know what I mean? If you want a little bit of orange or citrus or neroli to kind of bring some, I would think that brings some enlightenment. It's going to make you feel a little lighter. If you want to get calm, lavender always works well. This is my spa girl coming out, just a little FYI. Take notes. You know what I'm saying? So it's important to know that sense memory, your nose, is the number one sense memory. It's your olfactory. And it can take you back. I don't know if you've ever had this, but like if you smell like a Bulgarian rose smell and it takes you back to like your grandmother. If I smell Caress soap, I immediately I'm in Jacksonville, Florida, in my grandmother's bathroom, Pepto Bismol pink bathroom with my grandfather's dentures in the corner in a cup in his little periodontist type of water. I remember I'm literally seeing it in my head right now. I'd walk in the bathroom, waft of Caress soap and baby powder, and then these teeth, these dentures. And I used to go, oh, it freaked me out. But that was my that was my granddad, Willie, Willie Newsom. And her name was Johnny Newsom. That's how red we go. You know what I'm saying? A little red neck, and it's okay. Um, Back to reflecting though. I reflect on that and go, all right, well, we're coming on out of that. So truthfully, what I find in bath time is I can reflect and have moments. And the most recent reflection that I had was just really understanding where I'm at and being okay with being sad like I was and confused and trying to say what's next. What is next? Well, for me it was starting this, right? I knew that I wanted to get back to my roots or get back to basics and kind of dig through the muck together because it's cathartic, it's healing, it's what I needed and what I need. So it's interesting because there's patterns and triggers, relationships that force you to reflect deeply. There's stories in your head that you can play back. I'm sure you're thinking probably right now, like, what's a time for yourself that you reflected and went, wow, I learned a lot in that experience. And it really grew you to the next one. And that's where I think age, life experience, maturity really shows up and plays the part with you. But again, only if you're honest. You know, being in a business partnership for 18 years is a lot like marriage. I mentioned that, it is a marriage. It's understanding the other person, knowing the ebb and the flow of that. There's a ping and a pong. It's a yin and a yang. It's a dance. Just like in my husband and I in our marriage, there's a dance. And we do that. It's got its ups and its downs and it flows like a river. And so sometimes there's a big boulder in that river and it pushes the water to both sides. And sometimes you need to get that rock and move it. Get that boulder, that rock, whatever that is to you that is blocking you from your best self to spring forward, to go ahead, to move. Because, like I mentioned about rejection, I don't do good in the muck, right? Stuck, don't knows, what ifs. I'll go crazy because I'm an overachiever. I'm an overthinker. I'm going to worry. My husband calls me a worry wart. He tells me I'll worry about worrying. And I do. I'll worry that we're not worrying enough. And then I say to him, how come you don't worry at all? And he does. The difference is we are completely opposite. His DNA, the cloth he's cut from is not mine. I'm cut from I reflect, I worry, I look around, I look at every scenario and figure out how I'll react to every scenario. It's exhausting. I freaking hate it. If I could change one thing about myself, it would be to not worry and stress over things I can't control, which is everything, by the way. Right? Note to self. But in these instances, when reflection is healthy, it's a great timeout. Put yourself in timeout. You know what I mean? Like, let's put ourselves in timeout. Who says we shouldn't? Sometimes it's good. It's not a timeout, you're bad, right? It's timeout. I need to give myself a little bit of love and attention. And it can sound so small, but it's so powerful when you can do it. And you have a moment to go, I could have handled that better. I could have done this better. You know what? That was a great lesson for me to be taught. Or, hey, what did I contribute to that argument? What did I contribute to that situation? How do I maneuver through and change it? Because without it, you won't. You can't. And if you don't reflect, the bottom line is, and I believe this because I've experienced it at 51 years old. Sounds like an old lady to me, but I know it's not. 'Cause I don't feel old. I don't think I looked old. I don't look old, but what does old mean? Because when you say 51 and I think about what a 51-year-old in my head looks like, I go, I don't look like me. But what does it look like? What does it mean? I think I'm at that age where I don't give a beep, whatever beep sound we could use because who cares, right? 51, whatever. Bottom line is you have to take a second to look back and say, what got me here? Where am I at? What's going on? And not forgetting that you did experience rejection. And if you do try to jump ahead, you're going to repeat the same thing over and over again. It's just like a bad record playing on the scratch right there. It scratches and you're like, "Oh, I know it's coming." And you let it scratch. Okay, well, eventually you gotta fix the record or you're never gonna get through the song. Is that a good analogy? I don't know. I suck at analogies, but that's what I'm saying. Because the reality is just honor the pause. Reflecting is a pause. It's putting a break brakes on yourself, what's happening, and having a real talk with yourself. Because there's been so many times in my life that I didn't really want to look and see in the mirror. I didn't want to realize that I talk a lot, that sometimes I say things inappropriate in a meeting, let's say, and I just have to watch that or read the room, Rumbly, because I'm an extrovert. And when you're an extrovert, you push this way. My husband's an introvert, my daughter is. They pull back. And I get energy from people and being around people and collaborating and just driving passion and inspiration. A lot of people I know that tend to be my friends tend to be introverts, which is crazy because I tend to work really well with introverts. And I think it's because I get to be loud and out there and they're reflective quietly. I just reflect outwardly. So for myself, I used to think it was weak to harbor too much feelings around how to change and how to morph and mold into the next you, the next better self, whatever that means and whatever that looks like. And that was immaturity, right? That's immature to think like that. That was youth coming out in me going, no, you're fine the way you are. Everybody else can, you're funny, you're loud. People just need to accept you. True, yes. But there was also an element of, but I also need to understand that that can be off-putting. That could throw me into another scenario where people don't like me or anything like that. So I think there's truth that lies in there somewhere, you know. So I think it's important to look at ourselves and know what we contribute to that. Did we say something? Did we do something? If not, then I used to also say you can't negotiate with crazy. I mean, you can have a crazy customer that loses their marbles because the coffee was too hot or something weird. And inside, let's say you're a server and you're like, but it's hot coffee, right? So crazy's crazy. You can't navigate and negotiate with crazy, but there could be some elements in there that you could work with. Just saying, don't throw every baby out with the bathwater. But sometimes it's good to be able to recognize when you did have something to do with a rejecting moment, let's just say. And I think that you can see the patterns, right? And it's important to notice because we definitely repeat those patterns until we get the message. Like I said, that is critical. Get the message. And whatever that message is, whether it's you got to lose weight because you're diabetic and your life and your health matter to you and you need to reflect because you got rejected somehow, something happened. That's a reflection. It could be your marriage ended. That's a major life alteration. Someone passes away. Major. Senior care, caring for elder parents. I mean, my parents are 74 and 78, and it's happening as we speak. I'm watching them slowly age, and that's that takes a lot of reflection because your relationship with your parents, your siblings, are kind of the top relationships you have other than your spouse and your own family, your immediate family, your children. So, what's your reflection? What do you do? Like, really think about that. What do you do to give yourself pause to think about something so that you can change and you can morph and mold if you want to? Some people don't want to. That's okay. That's their choice. That's the decision. But sometimes when you do that, just know you're going to repeat things. You're going to repeat it, and it's going to keep on happening. Best way to look through that is that relationships. You keep dating the same guy or the same girl, sometimes a little reflection could do us some good. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's important to look at that and look through the lens of that. And reflection's real. I know that was an ugly face I probably was just doing. I just saw myself without seeing myself going and just picturing double chins all day. That's hot. That's really hot. Anyways, reflection is real and it's the real truth. And I think that's what makes growth possible. And that's what we're doing, right? We've talked about it. We're here, we're reinventing, we're showing up and showing out and inviting you on that journey together. And I think there's some tools you can use for reflection. Honestly, journaling, therapy is fantastic. Please don't be opposed to therapy. My daughter and my husband are opposed to therapy or were. And my husband and I got in therapy years ago. We still go. And the best time that I've been advised to go to therapy is when you don't need it. When you think you don't need it. That's the catch. When you think you don't need it is when you should go. Because when shit hits the fan is sometimes when you have a really hard time being present and knowing that you need therapy. So get some therapy, everybody. It's good. It's good to talk to somebody other than just your family or just your closest friends when you may need an outsider's opinion on things that they've got the skill and the tools to help guide you through, right? And I do believe that it helps people and conversations with the right people. Notice the right people is critical because if you have conversations about what you're going through with the wrong people, it can lead you down a world of hurt. It can lead you down a path that you weren't meant to be on. Be able to recognize who the right people are in your life, right? I think that's important too. Who makes you feel seen and heard? Who do you lose time with and go, oh shit, it's midnight? Recently, I just went on a trip with my brothers. I have a half brother and my real brother. Well, I hate to say half and real, like my brother I was raised with, who is my mom's son, and my brother is Steve. And we had some really great times together, just talking and reflecting ourselves about our childhood. And that's a whole nother ballgame that we'll get into and talk about because childhood trauma and being trauma bonded is real. And we reflect on that often. Um, and it's kind of carved who we are today. It's definitely made me who I am today. I don't shy away from it. I know exactly where I came from, who I am. I'm a child of multiple divorces on both sides. I've lived in a hotel growing up for a couple years when I was young, and not a nice hotel. It was on Orange Blossom Trail where hookers and pimps would be there, and just a whole nother world. But it made me who I am. And so I could look at that and reflect on that and be disappointed or embarrassed about it, but I'm not. I thought it was amazing actually because, I got to eat and I got to drink Coca-Cola or Pepsi and eat corn and drumsticks whenever I wanted. That sounds like a wonderful diet for a child, but we won't talk about that on this episode. Next one for sure. But just remember, use those tools. Use those tools that you have. If you don't have tools, figure the ones you need out. What is your ticker? Again, journaling. I hate writing. I like to talk. So this is my journal. This is the way I reflect. This is how I look through the lens and really see what's looking back at me. And I think in closing this reflection conversation, right? The second part of the trilogy. It sounds like Star Wars, right? I'm like, the trilogy. It was rejection. Now it's reflection. Then it will be reinvention. So we're going to look at this trilogy, right? The next one is the art of reinvention. And it is an art form. It's beautiful. It's transactional sometimes. It's transitional. It's transformational sometimes. And it should be because you're reinventing yourself. And there's so many versions of ourselves, right? And look, I don't like to go too deep. I don't need to go off the deep end dive because some people start to, but I wish someone had told me this when I was in the middle and the hot of it and I'm in it. And sometimes there's no one to talk to about it. And I would love to know that I had a community that was going, yeah, I'm in reinvention mode too. Kids are grown, life has changed. There's been some monumental shifts. It's like seismic shifts under the earth. The plate tectonics are shifting underneath you, and you go, what the actual F is going on? And it's so critical that that is when you are in the most moldable, flexible time in your life. And trust me, I did not see that, know that was happening until it came and smacked me right in the vagina. It felt like it was coming from the vagina up because it was so painful. And it continues to be sometimes. Every day is different, but know that you're not alone. Something that we like to do on this show is we like to break it up a little bit, right? We talk, we go there, we dig, we look, we uncover, we do an autopsy, and then we laugh a little bit. Maybe I say something inappropriate per the usual. And then we kind of like to do a little segment action. And today we're going to do what I call, and I like to call Rumbly Rant. I don't know about you, but I have boob sweat. Anyone else? Probably. It's awful, disgusting. I think it's part of perimenopause and menopause, which is fun and exciting. Such a good topic for me. So I sweat my ass off at night, and then I'm freezing because after you sweat, right, then you're cold. But the boob sweat is usually right under here. And when I just went fishing recently, I had a layer of boob sweat that was so cute, so attractive. So the tank top I was wearing was drenched from half down just under the breast. And matter of fact, you can't see it, but I feel it right now. That's a rumbly rant. Another rumbly rant drives me absolutely insane. I choose the wrong line at every frigging chance I can. Example, just in Florida, driving, there's toll booths and toll roads. I always finagle. I'm looking for what's the smallest line? Who looks like they're the fast car? Like it has any bearing on the line and how fast it's going to go. I always get behind the person who's getting all their pennies and coins out, 10 cents, 20 cents, and I start to have an absolute meltdown. Same thing happens at the grocery store. I go, where's the line? Who's going to be fast? Oh, you. Okay, great. They look speedy. So I get in the line. What happens? They bust out a checkbook? I need to ask a question. Who still writes checks? Ever? Anywhere? Does anyone use checks? Why do we have them anymore? I don't understand. It's like, do you write a letter? I mean, do you mail letters to people? It's a dying breed. I'm sad. I liked getting letters when I was younger, but what are we talking about here? I picked the wrong line every time. Bust out a checkbook, and I just literally can feel the boob sweat starts to happen when I'm in line and I choose that one. Bust a checkbook open or price check, of course, because the thing they got doesn't have the price on it. Can I get a price check on aisle 4? And I'm like, no. But I'm in line and someone's behind me now. What am I going to do? Everywhere else I turn, there's long lines. No. I give up. I give up. Sometimes I just leave. Okay. Rumbly rant over. Do you have a rant? I'd love to know your rants. Tune in next week because we are going to start digging in deep and we're going to get into the next one, which is the art of reinvention, the big kahuna. So be prepared, put on those thinking caps, and let's think about what are you reinventing yourself for. But do me a favor, in between, email us your thoughts and questions or any funny anecdotal stories because I love to read them and I love to share them. So send them our way. Just write to reinventingrumbley@gmail.com and we'll read it online. Be great. Great to talk to you. So come on back. And if you like this, please give us 5 stars or leave a review, a comment, and don't forget to subscribe. Just remember, you're always reinventing. So pull up a chair and a cocktail and let's reinvent together on this windy road of life.